Hey guys, before I get into the video, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Bruce Brute. He is a guy who makes comedy videos on YouTube. One of the things he does is interact with people on the website Omegle. Omegle? I don't know. Anyway, sometimes he plays this hilarious and strange character called Olga. Here's a clip.
Beautiful.
Thank you, girl. I'm prettier.
Oh, those boobs. Oh, damn.
Now he's shown me some love, so I want you guys to go and show him some love and watch his videos and subscribe to his channel. There's a link on the screen and in the description to his videos, so please go check him out. Yo! In my humble opinion, one of the most unwise things that you can do is assume that the way things are currently is how they will always be. The most obvious reason for this is because, well, things change. People change. You change. And it's often very surprising how quickly and how suddenly things can change. Things can be one way for years and you wake up one morning and your whole world is turned upside down. Now this sounds depressing, but ultimately I think change is a good thing. A diversity of experiences is what makes us smarter, stronger, and just more interesting. But I know we all often have things that we don't want to change. And honestly, sometimes in those situations I think it might be better to just accept it. I've alluded to this before in other videos, but one of the main reasons why I am who I am and why I have the principles that I have is because of a huge abrupt change that happened in my life involving the loss of people I was close to. And this was something that was depressing and scary and something that I didn't want to happen. But ultimately it sort of had to happen in order for me to learn how to be a person. And I know that's all very vague, but basically what happened is I took some people for granted. That is to say, I assumed that how it was how it was always going to be. I assumed that those people would always be there no matter what happened, no matter where I went, no matter how I treated them. And you know, saying it out loud makes it sound really dumb, but to some extent I think our brains are wired to do this. Especially the longer something goes on, it's generally reasonable to assume that it's going to continue. Speaking practically, we have to make these assumptions to some extent or else we can't function normally. Like I've had my apartment broken into before and that sort of shook me up for a while, but even so, I can't live every day in fear of being robbed. That would be a debilitating way to live. For the most part, I live as if I'm not going to be robbed, which seems more likely, so that's generally the most reasonable thing to do. And I thought it was the same with the situation that I mentioned earlier. I assumed things would stay the same, what I considered normal. I thought people would always be there because they'd always been there. But the key difference that I didn't realize back then is that even though I do live as if I'm not going to be robbed, I still put effort into making that less likely, you know, like locking my doors and windows. See, back then I wasn't doing anything to preserve or enrich those relationships. In fact, in many ways, my behavior was destructive to the relationships. It would be like if I opened my door and put a sign on it that said, "Hey, Roberts, come on in." Now, I said earlier that sometimes it's good for change to happen, but if there is something in your life that you don't want to change, such as you having a relationship with someone or you not getting robbed, you cannot take that person or thing for granted. You have to work on it. You have to put effort into making sure that this situation is strengthened and preserved. Even if it doesn't look like it's in any danger of changing, just like locking your door to prevent a break-in, you have to consciously keep these things in mind. Because you never know when everything could get turned on its head. That's just me though. What should the next video be about? Drop a comment. I want to give a shout out to all the new subscribers. How you doing? Please press the like button. Subscribe if you like my hair. Holla.